Hello Highland Park and welcome to another Miss S moment. This is your brain part 2. In this video we're going to review a little bit of the parts of the brain, and I went back to Highland Park and got our fancy poster so it's a little easier to read. And then we're going to talk about how the amygdala determines whether things are threatening or non-threatening, and what a powerful moment we have in mindfulness. Yeah? So I'll connect all those together for you through this video. First, I want to review the parts of the brain that we talked about in part 1. So I'm going to move you, pick you up, and bring you closer to this poster. Oh man, this is tricky for me. There we go. If you want to take a screenshot of it, or jot it down, there you go. Okay? So, the parts of our brain. We talked about our 3 key players. You can take out your hand model. Yeah? Our amygdala is what's inside these little pink dots, if you can see. I don't know if you can zoom in or if you froze it and took a screenshot. On this poster it says the amygdala. I'm amygdala and I'm here to keep you safe. I react fast. If there's serious danger, I'll help you run, freeze, or fight back. Remember, if we take our hand model, the amygdala is inside. It's the tips of our fingers very far inside of our brain. Yeah? The next one we're going to talk about is the hippocampus. The hippocampus is our information highway, yeah? It helps the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex communicate, and it holds all of our memories. If you take your hand model, the hippocampus is the middle parts of your fingers here, yeah? So we have your amygdala as the tips, and your hippocampus is the middle. This says, I'm hippocampus, and I'm like a scrapbook in your brain. I save everything important that you want to remember, from your ABCs to the names of all the people in your family. When something happens to make you smile, I'll save that as a happy memory. Yeah? And our 3rd key player in the brain is your prefrontal cortex. It's the very front of your brain. If you take our hand model, it is your thumbs. Yeah? This says the prefrontal cortex. I'm prefrontal cortex, PFC for short. I help you solve math problems and get to know your favorite book and TV characters. Give me time to work and I can help you make friends or make the best decision in a tough situation. Yeah? Once again, these are all a part of the Mind Up curriculum. Yeah? Talking about using our brain to make good choices and to regulate our emotions. So what does all of that mean? Yeah? Our amygdala, here in the middle, determines our emotional response to something that happens to us. Yeah? So something happens to us, and our amygdala helps to determine if it is threatening or non-threatening. Yeah? Now, what does it mean when I say something happens to us? We're going to go back to our friend Metta, who I also grabbed from Highland Park. He's doing well. He's okay in the times of COVID. We're going to take our friend Metta. So when I say that something happens to us, we're talking about this part right here. Something happens. So a loud sound happens in our apartment building. A phone call happens. Our phone rings. Yeah? Your brother walks into the room. Like, just something happens. Like, so many things happen to us every day. Something happens. Then your body senses it. So this is where your amygdala comes into play. And the way that your body senses it is through our senses. Yeah? So maybe you taste something. That makes your amygdala go, what's happening? Or you might hear something. Or you might see something. I'm guessing a lot of you are spending time at the windows these days, huh? You might smell something. Like if you think about a fire, if you smell smoke, your amygdala goes off, right? Or you might feel something, yeah? You might feel something move or something shake, right? So that's what I mean by our amygdala senses something, yeah? Now, our amygdalas don't really know whether that is actually something threatening or not threatening. So whether that's something really dangerous or not, yeah? A door slamming in my hallway in my apartment, for example, is not dangerous to me. But my body and my brain still go, what is that, right? They still alert us and protect us, yeah? So the tricky part, and where we can do some work together, Highland Park, is where we learn how to make a distinction between a false alarm or something that's just not a big problem and a big problem or something that is a real danger. Yeah? So, for instance, sometimes we freeze in a stressful situation, right? Like, say you sit down to take a test and you freeze. your amygdala senses I'm doing something different. I'm moving, right? I am seeing something on a screen, and it's sensing nerves and panic. And then sometimes people freeze, yeah? In a testing situation, right? This is an example of unmindful behavior, right? A reaction happens before the mind has time to think about it. So reaction happens in our body or in our emotional response to something before we have time to think about it. But on the other side, when we consciously process what's happening, we create a time between the input and our response, right? So when we think about the meta moment, there's quite a few steps between that happen really fast, right? So we hear something, see something, feel something. We need to stop, strategize, and then we can respond. So that's where we're talking about things coming in as mindful behavior or mindful responses, right? That's a magic moment. When you can stop yourself, when you feel your amygdala go, if you can stop yourself and make a choice on how to calm your amygdala, right? When we're thinking mindfully, we're giving our body space to process what's coming in, what's happening, right? That's called mindful behavior. So that's what we're trying to work on when we get to this brain, yeah? We want to make that space between when something happens, when our amygdala signals us and our cortisol goes off, to when we respond. We have to give our prefrontal cortex time to think about what to do, time to process and respond, right? This is how we be our best selves. This is how we respond in ways that we don't regret or feel guilty about, right? When we take time between when we feel something and when we respond. That's called mindfulness. Now, I would like to go through and give some examples of mindful behavior. There's a little activity here that we can sort together, okay? So we're going to think about it as mindful or unmindful, and we can sort them together, okay? See if I can get this here. Come on, Metta, get back up. There's a little bit from the travel in my bag. And then we'll put this right here. So we have mindful on this side and unmindful on this side. One example would be listening attentively when someone is speaking and not reacting until the person is finished. So maybe not blurting, right, in Highland Park words, is listening attentively and waiting to respond. Is that mindful or unmindful? That is mindful, right? Opposite would be just speaking when your idea comes into your head, or blurting or interrupting. That is unmindful. What about rejecting a new food because it is unfamiliar to you? So say you see the food and you say, I'm not having that because I don't know it. Is that mindful or unmindful? That is unmindful. Yeah? Being mindful is being open to new things. Yeah? What about this one? Intentionally ignoring a classmate, or in our current times, a sibling, a parent, a family member. Intentionally ignoring a classmate who seems eager to join your game or your group. Mindful or unmindful? I'm going to go with unmindful, because you're not giving your brain time to think of a response that is kind and polite. Paying such close attention to what someone is saying that you can repeat or explain it to someone else. Mindful or unmindful? Paying attention to what someone is saying so you can repeat it to someone else. That is being mindful, because you are being present. You are using your prefrontal cortex to listen, which means your amygdala is calm enough to let you listen. Ooh. Daydreaming or tuning out what is really happening around you without really noticing or hearing what is going on. Daydreaming is unmindful. It's fun, but it's unmindful. Let's do a couple more, and then I'll let you go for now. Let's see. Ooh. Practicing a new skill during a sports practice or music lesson until you feel your body improving. That one is mindful. Yeah. If you're sitting and learning a new skill and practicing until you feel it in your body, you're accessing your prefrontal cortex, which means your amygdala is calm, so it's allowing your prefrontal cortex. One thing I'm thinking is, where does this hippocampus come into play in this conversation? Yeah? If your amygdala is calm and you're accessing your prefrontal cortex, so you're learning new information, you're making good choices, you're doing all these cool things for yourself because you're able to be in the present moment, then those present moments, those things you're learning and practicing, get to be stored in your hippocampus. Remember, it's our memory place, right? It's our memory bank. So we're able to store things, we're able to keep information there if we're able to access our prefrontal cortex. If our amygdala is getting in the way, if it's feeling threatened, if it's feeling scared and it's responding, we're not able to store those memories. Right? Some of you may have heard of short-term memory loss, right? Or maybe in certain times of your life it's been really hard to remember stuff. That's because your amygdala was sending too many cortisol moments to your prefrontal cortex, so your hippocampus wasn't able to save those memories, right? And that's okay. It's about learning from that and learning how to be present and calm so that your prefrontal cortex can work and you can be your best self. Yeah? Now, in the next videos to come, we're going to talk about strategies and ways that we can work to keep our amygdalas calm and in check, right? We can help them learn what's threatening and non-threatening by keeping ourselves calm. So we're going to have some strategies and some read-alouds and some lessons on how to do that coming really soon. Keep taking good care of yourself, Highland Park. I miss you.